watching all the world go by now, underneath the hazy sky now. Got my ticket for the long ride. Yeah, from my park bench perspective, got that wide-eyed view on life. My park bench perspective, helping me to win the fight.
How you doing, Mike Hammer?
Carlos Figueroa, my friend, I'm doing wonderful today. And yourself, how are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm happy to be back on the bench, and I just hit record here because we're having a deep conversation. And so we're just going to dive right back into it. So you're talking about people's inability to do social things, and I'll take a step back. I'm going to say everybody as a parent wants to make their kids' life easier, better, not have them deal with the problems you had. I think that the problem that we've got as a society is that nobody ever wants to be uncomfortable. Nobody ever wants to get outside their comfort zone. So being social, talking, all of those things. In my career, you don't have to, going back even 20 years, the number of people who were afraid to deal with an angry customer. And I'm like going, so you've never had anyone mad at you before? You talk the problem out, you let them blow their steam. There's lots of techniques for that, but it's where I feel like we as a society, and this is not generational, we are really setting ourselves up for failure because we're not learning to do the hard things and take the risks.
It's the old, to get better, to get uncomfortable, to get better, and to push yourself. And I remember when we were little, I did it with sports, I did it a lot. Nobody was telling me, to be great, you gotta do what the people don't want to do. None of these weird, you just knew that you had it. I didn't work, it didn't seem like I tried to work harder than the next day. I tried to work as hard as I could to get better.
Or as hard as you had to.
And I did that, but I know when it came to pitching and like shooting hoop, the things you can do on your own, and I had the school across the street, so I could you could work harder. And in my dreams, not my dreams, in my mind, in my imagination, I was hitting the buzzer beater, Game 7 of love.
But let's just take a step back from a philosophical standpoint. I feel my parents never took stuff off of my plate because it was hard.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm not going to have you do this hard thing. So you get to the point where people claim that the parents are showing up at job interviews. You know what I mean? Where it's like going, no, you need to develop some kind of grit, some kind of live or fail, but do it on your own.
Changed where we coddle them till.
Yeah.
And that is true because like now you think, I'm going to set my kid, I'm going to help them look for a job. Yeah. I'm going to make my contact. Now, and I do know it still happens because you look at politics right now, the contacts.
Sure. Well, no, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. No, there's nothing wrong with introductions.
In contact introductions, but we used to be, way back, listen to my mom talking about my grandpa. Yeah. He was 8 and his sister was 13, and mom and grandma, the husband died, she'd take off for a week, 10 days at a time, and they were just like, this wasn't like the food stock.
Let me give you an example. I need to change the names, definitely. I knew somebody that was pursuing a career, right? One of their parents said, okay, to pursue this career, the next step in the career would be to work at such and such a place. Here's the person that runs a such and such a place. Here's their number. Call them, talk to them about opportunities. And that's where the parent left it. The person never went and followed through on it. And to me, that's the difference. It's like, listen, I laid you an opportunity. You said you wanted to do this. I gave you context. But if you're not going to take the step of making the call, because no one wants to make a call. Everybody wants to send a damn email because they're afraid of the reaction. And that's one of the best lessons I ever learned in corporate America, which was people will send emails back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Just pick up the damn phone.
Pick up the phone.
Because you can make things... In a 30-second call, you can clarify,
intention,
hours worth of
reflection.
Yes, exactly. But people are afraid to. What's the big thing? And I'm not going to say the statistic, but it's a huge problem of young men never having asked anyone on a date.
They don't ask them. There's huge, like a quarter of the men under 30 have not asked a person on a date out face to face outside of a dating app.
Yeah, that's the thing. Outside of a dating app, where it's like just come up to somebody and say, now obviously, as a society, we have altered the rules of the game where things are appropriate and inappropriate, but still, I don't think there's a problem in a bar to talk up to somebody and say, hey, I'm Carlos, you know what I mean? But people are afraid to do that. People are afraid to make the phone call. Big people, because it's easier on an app. You can swipe. There's no rejection.
But you can look at you're trying to check the boxes before you make the introduction. I quit. It became a job interview every time you went on a date, and it cost $200 to get turned down, or to say this job ain't for me. So I got off them, and when I found Annie, I was literally ready to say, you know what, that old guy, getting old on my own is fine. I'm going to do this, travel, do whatever, and all of a sudden the old fashioned in my line of sight at a concert.
Well, that's
and it happened, and it was like going. Time stood still, and you know, you see the things, the vision, peripheral vision got blurry, and you're just kind of like,
aww.
But and I say that, and I kind of wonder if I'm just trying to play.
Annie, I hope you're listening.
Well, she's heard this story many times. I just wonder if I was trying to make that up, but I go, no, it was.
But here's the thing: is it's almost Zen-like. Yeah, it's almost, you know what I mean. You weren't looking. You know what I mean?
There's something looking.
There is something.
Hard.
It's not that you're See, to me, there's a difference between stopping looking and not being open to it.
Waiting for water.
And you were you were open to it, but you were living your life and your mission, and then it happened as opposed to making that your mission.
It was supposed to happen. Kind of like watching a pot boil.
Yeah.
Or watching paint dry. Yeah. It's gonna. The process is it will dry.
You know me, and I'm not Mr. Woo. I'm not Mr. Crystals and tarot cards, and I'm 2 + 2 = 4, reason and logic. But there is something to be said for
manifesting things.
Or you're not manifesting, but I don't like the word manifesting because I like being open to it.
Okay.
Allowing yourself to.
It's not Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's this. Okay, so this is the funny, and I talked to you about it. We talked about moving out of the country for a year or so.
Yes.
And Spain, Portugal.
Yeah.
Now I brought that up. You brought it up. Danny brought it up. She wanted to go to Paris, but I'm like, I don't want to go to that big city.
Yeah.
But we looked at the viability of going to Spain on a seaside community. 20, 30, 40,000 community.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I start doing the research. Now, what this has happened with every business I've done, I've started or gone to, it just starts with a spark.
It does, the idea.
And so, with the kids, going back to that, I was going to say, I feel bad for kids 20, late 20s down, where they're living their life online so much.
Yeah.
They're not going to remember a childhood where they went out with their friends, because they're not going to have friends to say, hey, remember when we did this? Because they're like, what were you doing? Yeah. I was in my house doomscrolling.
Yeah.
Over.
And it is, and once again, I feel like this is generational, but it also affects people older. I just feel like listen, life, you are going to strike out. You're going to strike out a lot in life. The question is, are you going to strike out with the bat on your shoulders or swinging? And
are you going to be able to get up and get to the plate again?
Yes.
Because it's a game
show
of
up,
percentages.
Show up today.
It was funny. I was at Panera the other day with Danny, and Panera, I like it, but in the afternoon, on a weekday, there tends to be older people.
Yep.
And there was like 5 or 6, and all of them were, and this lovely late 70s, early 80s gentleman, and I kept saying, he's on porn. No, he's on Seniors Are Us, looking for a date. So I said, he's on porn, and Andy goes, really? I'm like, no, I don't know, maybe.
Good for him.
But everybody's on the, and it's weird, and the ability to connect and have these memories is when you sit down with your friends and go over them, and why, and so what I say to kids or anybody that we all have to, and I was saying this to my brother when it was that, and he was in his difficulties at the end. You got to help yourself.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
People like to help people or try to help themselves.
Yeah.
But it's hard to help someone that doesn't want to in any effort. And then you're like, and especially if their family are real close, you feel an obligation to, but then you're like, part of it is like, well, screw it. If you're not going to try.
Here's the thing. Listen, I don't want to be Pollyanna, but I really feel like where hustle meets opportunity is where success sparks happen. But you got to
bring the hustle.
Because very few people I'm just reading a couple of Beatles biographies. Those guys worked their ass off for year after year and played thousands of shows, and a new American pop record would come out, and Lennon and McCartney would sit and listen to it over and over again to learn how to play it and figure out how they made the sounds. The Beatles were not an overnight anything.
No.
That was very talented people who worked their ass off for a very long time. That's one of those things when a band breaks and it's like, oh, you're an overnight success. You're like, I've been touring for 10 years, but sure.
It looks easy to us what they're doing because they've done it so much.
And once again, I'm gonna beat the hell out of this thing because it's something that you came up with around a year ago when your mom passed, was the importance of showing up. But that's important, I think, that you meant in the context for other people, just showing up. That's the criteria, somebody that shows up. But you know what? Show up for yourself. You know what I mean? Show up every day for yourself.
Show up for yourself and give yourself a break sometimes.
This is very important.
Don't beat yourself up, because if the other thing I say to people near and dear to me that are having questions, one easy thing to say, if you are or doing pretty close to it, say, I'm doing the best I can. Yeah. And if you mean it, and if it's true, everybody that hears that, most of the time they'll say, all right.
Now listen, I'm going to paraphrase Joe Rogan. And listen, we're just a bunch of monkeys flying on a rock, flying through space at hundreds of thousands of miles an hour, man. Put that perspective in. Just give yourself some grace.
I said this to a child. I won't name the child's name, but it's a child. At a time when I said, you think this is you, I got my fist here, and the world revolves around you. Yeah. I'm going to say, now, because you're near and dear to my heart, in a sense it does to me. Yeah. But the reality is, we're just one of 7, 8, 9 billion going around that spot. Yeah. And nobody, you're not saying this, especially since the political, the war going on, all the stuff going on with the oligarchs and everything. Nobody's heartbeat is more important than anybody else's. No, exactly. Jeff Bezos' heartbeat is not more important than the person you sit at the 55. You see at the 55-gallon.
And you know what? They're going to put him in a box in the ground just like us.
And it's going to be a memory.
He gets, whatever. Elon Musk has trillions of dollars. He's going in a box just like us. There's nothing he can do about it. I say the people in our inner circle are close. Yeah. To me, you mean the world. Yes, absolutely.
But to everybody else, you're just part of the world. Yeah.
I mean, what is the saying about dogs, which is they're an important part of your world. You're their whole world.
The whole world.
And so, but I think the key, though, is show up for yourself, show up for other people, but every day, consistently. Showing up to me isn't, I came. It's, no. On the days where you felt like crap. Yeah. On the day you kept showing up. You kept showing up. And that is the key to success. I was somebody that was a hardcore smoker from a very young age. Yeah. If someone would have asked you who's somebody that isn't going to be able to quit, you might have said me. But you know what? You just, to quote the common man, just don't stop at the corner and pick up a flip-top box.
Yep, don't do that. I was talking earlier about, what was I talking about when you came in? You kind of got me on
all over the place.
Sideways. But when it comes to helping people that want to help them, it's easier to put a foot forward or realize that you are important, but the most important person you're important to is yourself.
What is the biggest mistake that salesmen make?
They don't shut up.
That's true. That's a big one, but I think asking for the sale.
Well, you got to ask for the money.
You got to ask for the sale.
The hardest part is and then don't discount yourself. I know someone near and dear that bids a job and then says, well, I'll that in. I'm like,
don't be throwing nothing in.
When I tell people when they get to, you have a value. You back it up with your effort.
Yes.
So you go sell your value, but you got to bring the effort. If you're going to try to get the value without the effort, you're going to be found out.
So I said this at a company, and I was not big enough in the company to have a say, but the company had developed a brand new product. It was very cool. It was cutting edge. And the salesman was like, we're going to just throw that in. I'm like, okay, so we believe that this is a valuable product. Yes. Okay, what value are we telling the customer it's worth? 0, because you're just giving it in. If we really think, and I don't know, if we really think this is a really good product that's going to add value, we need to charge for it. You know what I mean?
When you do something on Marketplace, if you put 0, less response than if you put $5, $10.
Well, that's the old saying, and I don't know if it's true, but I believe human psychology, it is true. If you put something free on your corner, it'll stay there, but if you say $5, it'll be stolen.
Why. So, it's funny, talk about effort and doing stuff. And I've been an effort guy, and back to, I don't know, growing up, it was just responsibility was bestowed on me, and I didn't sit there and go, dang. I just said, does everybody do this or not? We didn't have social media to realize everybody didn't. And we didn't have social media to think, my life could be like that. No, that's somebody else's life. Okay, did I want to be a Nolan Ryan growing up? Or the newspaper article said, of course I did. But I also knew that They didn't just get there.
Also, and I'm going to give an example in my life and just see how my dad handled it. And I feel like it is sending the right lessons. So when we were in Babe Ruth baseball, it was like 13, 14, and 15. They would cut two people before it started. And it was Dave Whiteford was the coach, or Mr. Whiteford. Was his name Dave? Don. Anyways, he was the coach, and he calls me to cut me. And my dad gets on the phone, and he didn't know I had hung up. My dad's like, first of all, you're the coach. You make your roster decisions. I got no question about that. But this is a really shitty system when you tell a kid he's an all-star and then you're cutting.
Yeah.
That's a really shitty system. We shouldn't do that. But I'm not telling you shouldn't have cut my kid. I probably would have cut my kid too in these same circumstances. But it's a shitty system, which is the right way to do it, right? He's not telling the coach you can't cut my kid. What is I read? The famous story is that Michael Jordan was cut from his sophomore basketball team.
He cut as a sophomore from the high school team.
From the high school team, but his mom...
serving too, but...
But his mom, did his mom call the athletic director and complain? No, it's just, I'm going to have to work harder next time.
You got to work harder. And they don't ever go on to say, at his age, being 12, 14, 16 months behind us, there was 5 to 8 players at this school better than him. Yeah. And nobody was going to, nobody's looking at him going, well, that's next Michael. Who's Michael Jordan?
Yeah, exactly.
They're like going, we have all these other kids. Yeah. And the hard part that happened to us, sometimes you're like, we're bored with the juniors and seniors. We're going to start promoting the sophomores and freshmen.
Yeah.
But what about the juniors and seniors that put all that time in their high school experience? Yeah. We're not going to get anywhere with them. Oh. Says who? It happened to us. We kind of had a purge, and all these younger kids came in, and they didn't do any better. Yeah. If anything, they did worse than we did. But you can't fault the coach on certain things, because part of being coach is you molding these kids. It's not win at all costs in high school.
I think that it is hard for anyone right now to understand how big deal Michael Jordan was.
Yeah.
But the important thing to me about Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan was created. He was not born. Michael Jordan, everybody says, was the first guy to show up at practice and the last guy to leave his whole career. You know what I mean? I remember that Kevin McHale said it when he drafted Stephon Marbury. He's a gym rat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's what you want. You want guys that just love to play and want to get better and this and that. But the thing is, that is so hard, so challenging to do. I'll give you some autobiographical stuff. I'm trying to pivot in my career and develop a career writing. And so I've been writing pretty consistently. I've been showing up. But some days it's like, 12 people read this? I worked for 6 hours on this and 12 people read it. But you know what? You just keep posting and people read it. And then all of a sudden, holy shit, this baseball scout just shared it with this guy who's on, Dan Duquette is reading my stuff and he's on ESPN, and it's like going, it is showing up every day isn't easy. It's hard.
I always get not a kick, but I find it fascinating. These bands.
Yeah.
I think it was Husker Du or Semisonic where they're reading, somebody just made a movie or trying to make a movie about them. And so many shows, there's no one in the audience. Yeah. And they're basically playing to themselves. Yeah. And you probably could bring it up with the Ramones because they're breaking in until they get a break, until they get a foul. Jim Morrison, or you look at the Beatles. Yeah. They played a lot of pubs that weren't many people there.
The Ramones traveled the United States in a van.
Yeah. And you look at that break watching Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah. He did that. Everybody did it until you get a podcast and until something clicks.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? So talking about motivation, and we kind of started off with, we don't want to say kids are messing up, but get out and touch the grass. Okay, so Field of Dreams game came out.
Yeah.
And for me and you, I can just picture it. Anybody who likes baseball like we do, going, when he's sitting there going, when Ray Liotta comes out of the corn and he's sitting there for the first time, and the way he's hitting his tiny glove, and you're like, a lot of that's true, but some of it you're like, did he really play the role of a baseball? Yeah. But he did a lot of the things, and the touch of the grass, the smell of your leather, when you put it to your nose. I can smell the leather glove all the time, chewing on the little tassels.
The sounds of the bat, the sounds of the ball hitting the glove at the ballpark.
Where you pop the catcher's glove, and good catchers can get it to pop. A good catcher that wants their pitcher to think they can get their glove to pop. And when you can hear the trouble with the curve is you can hear the spin rate, not see it in terms of we can hear it, but that was fun to watch the players come out of the corner and do it for the love of what they were doing, and not.
See, baseball is so unique in that you've got three styles of baseball. You got people that root for their team and they like it when their team is good. Then you have and I fall into this, the Bob Costas the romance, the history, the
Vince
field
Valley,
of dreams, you know what I mean? It's just the history and the folklore and the individuals. And then there's the nerds that want to sit there and say, here's the numbers and here's what's important, here's how you do a batting lineup. And the thing is, I take from all of them, but I have the baseball is romantic to me in a way no other sport is. And that is my father. It was the game I shared with my dad.
It's a very romantic game because it's more calculated and slower paced.
It is.
And WCCO broadcast the Twins for years and years, and they have this clause that they don't have to power down at night.
Yeah.
So their broadcast goes at night when all the other ones power down. There's less communication for the air signal to go out. Oh, Nebraska, South Dakota, North
and everybody
Dakota,
listening
Iowa,
to Herb Carneal.
even Montana. So they get, and a lot of old ladies, because we'd listen to the dark, would come on after the Twins game and break it down, and they'd call in. But a long time ago, a comedian made it part about they play in a stadium. In baseball, they play in a field.
Yeah.
And this and that, that's the nuances, the subtle niceness of it all. Yeah. But if you didn't like today's chapter, because to me, baseball, the romantic part we've talked about, it's a 162 chapter book.
It is.
And if you didn't like today's chapter, guess what?
Yeah, tomorrow we got another.
Tomorrow we got another chapter.
But you were a closer in college, right? You had to have that attitude. Yesterday is gone. You can't think about the home run you gave up yesterday. You're going out there today with a clean slate, brand new.
And it's funny, I don't remember it as much, but I think that's part of the reason to be good at it. Yeah. You don't remember it? Yeah. Because I do know going out there, sitting in the bullpen, and we played usually 4-game sets on the day, 2 games a day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'd get in 2 or 3 games. I only pitched an inning or so I could. And the reason I could do this, I had a rubber arm and I didn't fatigue or whatever. But I do remember the first couple times. It's like you're pitching on the stretch. Yeah. Nobody knows what that is. You're standing sideways on the mound, looking at to the left home plate, and straight ahead you're looking at third base. Could be a person at third base, second base. Mm-hmm. It's usually 1, 2, maybe 3 runs separate the game in your favor or the other favor. But then you kind of revel in the opportunity to do it. And yes, we had a good team and we did. But there's sometimes when I said this, when somebody hits a home run on you and you're on the bump, there's no hiding.
There's no place to hide. Everybody is looking at you. Go, wow.
You can't hustle yourself out of that one. Football, you can hustle the next play. Basketball, you turn the ball over. You can run back, maybe hustle. Hockey, hustle, get the puck back. But in baseball, you can't hustle that home run.
I'm a big fan of the John Boy. It's whatever. That's his handle. But he's really good at lip reading. Oh. So I've seen him do a couple with the pitcher reactions of the home runs. Yeah. Did you ever have a catcher pull a Crash Davis go, whoa, he sure hit that one a long way?
And I was, the younger ones at college, one of the younger pitchers, the older veteran catchers. Yeah. And they weren't, one would throw the ball back to me. Yeah. Almost as fast as I would every time. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And he was like, just on the edge of being a prick. Yeah. But if I throw a ball and I'm like, shit, I'm kind of looking down at the ground to see if my foot line, all of a sudden look up and the ball's being fired at me. And I'm like going, fuck. And the coach is kind of, be ready. I'm like,
it's on my team.
I'm trying to get through. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with the other team trying to get me to do bad. But maybe he was trying to get me to focus in or whatever. But I was trying to figure out what I was doing. But all this parallels with baseball, and I'm not sure why I went into the field. The field I went into.
Just the romantic part.
Oh, we were talking about the book and chasing and Jerry and Terrence, all these things, having a catch and stuff. The memories you make outdoors. And doing things. When he's Kevin Costner in the movie, I hadn't seen him in maybe 10 years. He looks like he's 12. Yeah. And then his wife, Annie, is her name in the movie. She's like, all right. Was she doing the whole fascist speech at the PA?
I just feel the worst for James Earl Jones's character. He finally gets to go there because the stupid kid chokes on a hot dog. He's got to ruin his fantasy and leave the Field of Dreams.
James Earl Jones doesn't have to leave the Field of Dreams.
No, the doctor does.
Doc Graham does. He said I had more satisfaction helping all these people over a 40-year career as a doctor. But don't feel bad for me. Moonlight Graham.
Wow, okay. Field of Dreams not my top 5 baseball movies, but yeah, I got it.
Love the Game. Have you watched that?
I have not, but I've got one for you. It is perfect based on, he said, the smells and the sounds. It's called Eephus. Eephus. And I don't know if you are familiar with the old-time pitch, the Eephus pitch.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Which is like this really slow, like, forget a changeup. Think of it like the Bugs Bunny pitch that takes forever to get.
It's almost like a softball pitch.
So Eephus pitch. So the game is called Eephus. The movie is called Eephus. It's an independent movie that came out 6 months ago. You have to look for it. But it is about 1990s in New Jersey. There's this park. There's a town team. Two companies play each other, but that field that they play on, that's the last game there's ever going to be because they're tearing it down and they're putting up a school. And it's just these old timers and the guys that show up at the park. And you got the old guy who shows up at the park in his lawn chair with this scorebook and there's nobody there. Nobody cares about this game at all. But it is the most beautiful thing in the world watching this. It's almost like, did you know when you played your last ball game?
No. I got in college.
Because you could have played town ball, everything else.
Beyond that, when the season ended, you wondered when it was that, when you were chasing it. In college, when the season ended and your eligibility was up, you're like...
Well, the guys in Eephus know it's the last game. And, of course, they'll say, oh, you can always play in the league up in Derbyville. That's 30 minutes away. You know what I mean? So it's like the dream is going to die and they know it. So I highly recommend Eephus. Find it. You will. If you love baseball, you will love it. It is like a baseball game. It's slow. It's beautiful. It's ambiance. It's not in a hurry. It's not gonna. If you love
no pitch count.
There's
no pitch clock.
There's no pitch clock. There's no anything. It's a beautiful movie, and I strongly recommend it. Eephus.
Yeah, the pitch clock when pitchers took too long. When I was pitching, I was like, I don't want to think too much.
Yeah,
I
bring it.
I want to go get the ball and I want to throw it because I don't want to think about what if I miss it.
Let me ask you. I'm fascinated. See, to me, the pitcher's brain. Like I feel like I have a resource here because did you ever have anybody that screwed around up on the plate like the Mike Hargrove where he made you wait too damn long and so then you wanted to make him pay for it?
There was a couple. I don't remember.
Did step out on you? Did that piss you off?
We didn't play enough teams over and over again. No.
Oh, to develop a kind of a guy that gets in your head.
Guy that gets you, or somebody that you're like, notice all the time. Sometimes you're like, what the hell's going on? But you didn't seem enough to say every time. It was an old big one that would stand out of the box. The one you always watch them have to retighten their batting gloves, and so many do it, and you wonder, and you're like, but there's a routine in their head that they want to. You don't want to stand there too long, tensed up with the bat up, even though you're supposed to relax, but you don't want to do there too long because then you start thinking again.
If you have any interest, look up Mike Hargrove on YouTube. Mike Hargrove at bat. He used to take a long time. Adjust the batting glove, adjust the helmet, every single pitch. And the reason I learned about it was the Twins had a player, Chuck Knobloch. Chuck Knobloch grew up watching Mike Hargrove. So there was a lot of that in Knobloch's batting stance.
You get the pitcher's head just a bit and you knock it off. Like you said, you looked up the value of 1 mile per hour faster on your fastball is worth what a year?
$3.7 million according to Driveline. Driveline posted a YouTube video that I wrote about what is 1 mile per hour worth, and they calculated it. Now, obviously, we're not talking about at the Ohtani level. We're talking about kids, that whether you make it or you don't. And if you can get a mile per hour, it'll increase your lifetime earnings by $3.7 million. That's crazy.
Okay, so something that comes into a lot of this, we were talking about motivation, getting up and doing it, back to the kids, and doing it, showing up, putting out and doing what it was. So today, I don't know, this last couple days or whatever, since I was back from California, I could sleep all day long. Yeah. For some reason, I get up, and I'm usually not like that. I'm usually tasked. I like to do stuff. Yeah. And stay active. But I was like, I'd sit down for a second and go, I could fall asleep. And I don't have a problem sleeping. No. For those who do, I feel bad.
Yeah, but you do not.
When I go to bed,
it's the sleep.
I turn on South Park, and I don't know what the episode was, because 10 minutes into it, when I decide to sleep, I'm sleeping. Now, the reason I can't sleep that long, we were talking about the shit deal that comes up. Your body gets sore in bed.
It does.
Just laying there, you're I'm just laying here.
It does.
I'm starting to get sore laying here, and it's not like you're laying there for days. You're like, you push it past 7.5, 8 hours, you're like, fuck. So I get up, do the coffee thing, do whatever, and I'm just, but I'm just dragging.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there's got to be something.
Yeah, what the hell's going on?
And it's August, and we've heard of Dog Day afternoon, or
Dog Days of August.
Dog Days of August.
Dog Days of Summer.
And so I look it up.
Yeah.
Is there any correlation between me being sluggish and tired and August.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there was a litany of things, and I don't know why I didn't put my thing in there, but a lot of it was, okay, it's hot. Your body has been trying to cool itself all summer long. I do a lot of work outside, so that's true. So you're spending more time. This is weird things like, they talk about circadian rhythm and stuff.
Yeah.
Your blood goes to the surface, towards the surface of your
when
skin
you're hot.
to try to cool your skin.
Yeah.
So the other organs are working harder over time. Your lungs are breathing harder. And the dehydration, because no matter how much you're drinking, you really can't replenish all of it. So the summer months drag on. When it starts to get cool, the Christmas. Yesterday, not to be an old guy on the bench, on the fan, talking about the dew point.
Yeah.
Not to be like Palermo on K-Fan and talk about the sticky dew point.
Yeah.
But it was 67%. Yeah. For the most part, I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah.
But I know
it means sticky.
Anything over 60, high 50, 60, you're getting it.
Yeah.
Now, and humidity 81%, I understand that, because at 100%, it should be raining.
Okay, whoa. I swear to God, this is true, okay? I was in Miami once, and they said it was 110% humidity, and I'm like, that means buckets of water are coming from the sky. I don't understand the 110% humidity, but I swear to God, I heard it when I was in Miami. If anybody knows weather, explain it to me.
Or back to when they stopped doing it, but it was a big quote from athletes that are coming up the ranks. I'm going to give it 150%.
Yes, exactly.
You can't. You can't. Don't try to impress us. Just do it. This is something I tell my kids. Anybody that's I've said for a long time. Don't tell me you're loyal.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you don't lie. Yeah. Don't tell me you're honest, because if you have to tell me you're honest, guess what you are. Yeah. You're not honest. Yeah. If you have to tell me you're loyal. Guess what you are?
So I had a gal call me out once, many years ago. She goes, Carlos, you're really good at the tell, not so much at the show. She was right. You know what I mean? You can say the right things, but you got to show up and do it.
Yeah, and I say, don't feel bad, but if you say, I deserve respect, you can't say that. Yeah. You know what you do? You earn it. Here's the thing that baffled me with a lot of people, that don't tell me you work all the time. Yeah. I don't care. Yeah. Don't tell me how hard you work. Yeah. You know what's going to impress me? Yeah. When somebody else tells me how hard you work. Because you telling me that is...
But here's actually, and we're running long, but I don't care. I feel like there's a lot of people that like to make it look like they're working hard. Yeah. And the thing is, the hours spent at the office does not mean equal working hard. To me, working hard is productivity. Yeah. Is you're accomplishing things and things are getting done. You know what I mean? There's people that working hard is performative. You know what I mean? It's like they're putting on a performance for somebody that they're working hard, as opposed to... And there's a lot of people that will spend more time working to get out of working than the people that are actually working.
I have some people that'll say it to me. I'm working 56. I'm like, you know what? No one cares. Yeah. I care maybe because you're someone special. Yeah. For the most part, no one cares, because you know what? Since the beginning of working hard was done. Back to that. People notice if you work hard. Because that's what you're always doing. Yeah. You're working. That doesn't mean it's a sign of greatness or it's a sign of what are you running from.
But you got to work smart too.
You got
to work smart. You can't just work hard. You got to work smart.
Okay, but if you're making burgers, you can work really smart, but you can't make the next burger until it's ordered.
This is true, but you know what? You can have your system for how you take your order, how you fill your order.
That's smart, but exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer. This goes back to long before Anthony Robbins, but he popularized the idea of CANI, which is constant, never-ending improvement. You can always do things 1% better, and that's the thing about showing up. If you do yourself do 1% better after 100, after 200, after 300 days, you know how much of an improvement that is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you can't. Sometimes I'll say to people when there's a really big project, they'll be like, I don't know where to start. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
But when you want to start a project, you take the first bolt off. Yeah. Take the first one. You get into it. Yeah. And then if you do a lot, just don't try to do too many projects at once.
Yes, that's key.
This goes back to don't tell your boss how hard. Yeah. They're going to notice when if you have to keep telling people something you're good at. Yeah. See, you know what I'm good at? Yeah. You know what? Kyle Schwarber, just because he had a home run or whatever. Some people, I hit bombs, I hit dingers. Like that guy on YouTube. Yeah. I hit dingers, but you just do it. The quiet one, Walter Payton. We love Walter because when he ran for a touch, when he scored a touchdown, what did he do? Yeah. He handed the ball to the ref because he was doing what he's supposed to do.
I'm not going to say the name. Please don't say the name. But when we were in Little League, there was a kid in the majors who was, oh my goodness, he just hitting home runs left and right, hitting home runs. And then he started switch hitting. And I'm like, you're fucking 12 years old. What are you doing? Anyways, there was no career. There was no baseball career. It was something that at 12 years old, you can hit dingers great. It didn't translate into anything. One of the things I would like you to think about for a future topic, because one of the keys that goes with this that we have not touched on is the importance of saying no.
Yeah, I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
When it comes to helping and doing and being there.
Yeah.
And back to the thing we started out with, not enabling, because I hate that word. You're enabling them. I'm like, no, I'm not helping them breathe. Whatever. Yeah. Okay, but instead of letting them fall, which when you're a caring person,
it's hard.
I don't need you to get all the knocks on your shins that I got, but you're going to need to get a few.
Well, that's the thing. And this is the magic needle threading that parents do that I've never had to do, which is, how do you make sure your kids learn the lessons without them having to take on too many of the consequences of those lessons, right? Because you can't, I would think, I thought about this with my parents as they got older, is I wanted to wrap them in bubble wrap and make sure nothing bad ever happened to them. Yeah. But that's not, you can't live your life that way. So you were doing a tremendous disservice to your child if you raised them that way. But you still have to be able to, once again, you have to be able to, in life, try challenging things. And it's okay if you don't succeed. I don't like the word fail, because all failure is it's a trial. It's a learning lesson. You learn from it. That's all you can do.
Let the chips fall where they may. To a certain extent. Can you go like the director? Funny about, you have to accept the consequences. And the one that they try to guilt, you don't want to be the last thing that you ever said to something because something happens. Something mean. Okay, well, don't be a mean person to begin with. And sometimes moods get it, and we don't know. And it's funny, I'll talk about another time. I was a little frustrated yesterday at this fucking fatigue thing. Yeah. And the kids were being kind of, I said to my daughter, and they're being joking and jovial, and I was like, the more they
I don't have the energy.
The more I got irritated. I'm like, just don't talk to me. I'm not that kind of guy. Gee, I want to chit-chat.
No, you are Mr. Gregarious.
And so when I looked into this, I'm like going, we need a cold snap.
But you know, that's something as you get older that we're going to have to deal with more and more, which is our body letting us down.
I just, Lino, big old Dano Lino, been posted on Instagram. Look up Lino Crusher 44 or something like that. But he's always been into working out. And he said it's not hard to work out. The one today was lifting weights. The hard part isn't lifting less weight, the amount of weights you lift. Yeah. The stronger one's the one that's still doing it when all the ones you did it with before aren't there. But I'll wrap it up here with the going up or doing or whatever for yourself because A, you want to, and B, it means something to others. But 60, they start saying you got to throw some weight around. Or your body muscle. Because we were designed have you watched The Pursuit of Unhappiness?
With Will Smith?
No, The Pursuit of Unhappiness with Larry David.
I've not seen it.
And it's funny when he's talking about, and he's at the thing, and Fonzie was the guy in front of him. He had his own grievances. He went on top of Jefferson's grievances for the Declaration, and he had 422 others. One that was funny was, I believe we should put it in law that if you get invited to dinner, it's okay to ask the person that invited you who else you invited before you accept. Right. But he went on all these grievances about the...
All right, people will have to check out Larry David.
But he was talking, where the hell was I going with that one? Holy moly. But, he goes, grow me your beard or do something when you're old. He goes, we were designed to be 37 years old and die. But we're talking about, we had enough time here on the bench.
We did have a nice time on the bench. I think I called the recent show The Random Show. I think I'm going to call this one Everything and the Kitchen Sink.
And the Kitchen Sink. And
But it's fun to be on the bench, so I hope you guys enjoy listening, and we'll be back.
We'll be back soon, and we'll have a good time. Thank you, my friend Carlos.
All right, Carlos and Hammer.
Out.
Watching all the world go by now, underneath the hazy sky now. Got my ticket for the long ride. Yeah, from my park bench perspective, got that wide-eyed view on life. My park bench perspective, helping me to win the fight.